Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. Be sure to check me out over on Rumble. There you'll find all of my stuff from YouTube, plus my political and social commentary and weekly current events, which YouTube frowns on. Links to my Rumble channel as well as my other YouTube channels and links to let you order my books are in the description of this video. If you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. I welcome your comments even if you disagree with me. Now, on with the video. Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons and Dragons advice story, a video on story versus rules. And this is an age-old conflict. It has been debated since Gygax first invented the game. I'm pretty sure some of his players and he probably had the same debate. I've seen players and dungeon masters literally come to blows over this debate, and it's never good. Never is it good. The debate usually goes something like this. The player is using the rules to further his player character or his plan versus the bad guy. The dungeon master suddenly explains that because of the story he wants to further, his bad guy or some other NPC can suddenly ignore rules X, Y, and Z, which of course derails the player character's plan. The player objects. The dungeon master tries to explain how his story trumps the rules, and the debate rages on. It escalates from there. It is never ever good. I have seen the best of friends lose friendships over this. It's crazy. It's again never good. I knew these two guys, Mark and what was his name? I haven't talked to the guy in freaking years. I think his name was Barry. Anyway, these guys were friends for years, since grade school. And right out of high school, Mark was running a game, and Barry was using the rules, and Mark said, no, because blah, blah, blah. The debate raged on, and they didn't speak, if I'm not mistaken, for something like 8 years. I mean, you can damage friendships with this. It's crazy. One of the primary rules of being a good dungeon master is consistency. Consistency is the key, in my opinion, to making a game good because it brings stability. Without stability, your players can't plan or expect any desired output, no matter how hard they try. There is no reason to try to achieve success situation A if there is no stability in the game. You cannot plan an assault. You cannot plan an action. You cannot, if you plan, if you're in the middle of combat and you plan something and it doesn't work because of a story trope or story idea that the game master has, and this is in any game, it's not just Dungeons and Dragons, it's any game. If your player plans something during combat and your story prevents it from happening, they're going to be angry. Expect it. So here's the thing. Don't do that. That's the simple solution. Without stability, your players cannot plan or expect any desired output no matter how hard they try. If a player character plans to drop a piano on the bad guy, but suddenly without warning and for whatever reason, for no reason, the laws of gravity suddenly change, the player's going to be pissed, and rightly so. Story can never, ever trump rules. Never, ever. Period. You're going to have people argue this, and people listening to this video will put comments. Oh no, the story has to further. Yes, but it cannot trump the rules. The rules exist for a reason. If the story trumps the rules, then there are no rules, and it's pointless to play the game. You cannot play a game without rules. Story can never ever trump rules. As a dungeon master, it is your job to create the adventure. That adventure has to fit within the rules. Period. If your players even begin to suspect that the rules are not consistent or are somehow not being consistently applied, your game's done. You're not going to have people show up to play. Your game literally will be done. Your bad guys, your NPCs, your story, your world, your game, your players all depend on those rules. Now, I'm not talking about the rules in the book. I'm talking about whatever rules you use. If those rules are the rules in the book, amen. But it also applies to house rules. If during week one, player characters are not allowed to. If for example, if you in the beginning of the game, if you outlaw precast spells, and in the second week, precast spells are still outlawed, and in the fifth week they're still outlawed, and in the 10th week they're still outlawed. When the characters reach 15th level, they're still outlawed, and then suddenly your bad guy shows up with all these precast spells, magic missiles and shocking grasps and what all. Look up my video, precast spells. But if suddenly your bad guy shows up with all these precast spells, yeah, your players are going to be pissed, and rightly so. Rules have to apply equally to everybody. Good guys, bad guys, NPCs, all of it. Okay? Whenever I run a starting campaign, I generally, unless the players object, I allow first level characters maximum hit points at first level. I also do this for the bad guys, because the rules have to be consistently applied. Okay? If the players, for example, if the players roll for their hit points, but the bad guys have maximum hit points at first level, yeah, at level 1 the players are going to be pissed, and rightly so. Okay? Everybody, your bad guys, your NPCs, the players, the PCs, your story, your world, everything, all the players, everything depends on those rules. They have to. Your entire world and your entire game has to fit within those rules. And that includes your story. Anytime there's a question or a deviation, there has to be an explanation within the rules. If not, then you're breaking the rules. Okay? There's a movie out there called The Gamers, Darkness Rising. If you have not seen it, you can watch it for free on YouTube. It is an absolutely hilarious movie. It is absolutely wonderful. Go ahead and go check that out. There's this part in there where the guy says, oh, story trumps rules. No, it doesn't. It can't. It cannot. It cannot ever trump the rules. The rules have to be consistent. Whatever the plan, the plot, your NPC abilities, the master villain's abilities, etc., they all have to fit within those rules. They all have to. If they do not, you have failed in your designing of the adventure or the campaign. This is the sacred cow of being a dungeon master. When I talk about consistency in the rules and the application of those rules, this is what I'm talking about. You have players who for whatever reason, want to weasel every iota of every ounce of extra whatever out of every single rule. That's fine, as long as the rules apply to everybody. I had a guy years ago. This guy, he was the quintessential weasel. His name was David. He weaseled every freaking ounce of everything out of every rule to make his character succeed. And amen. It was good that he was thinking. It was good that he was trying to do that. If you're not trying to do that, then what the hell are you playing for? You want your character to succeed. Okay? But then he got upset when the bad guys were doing the same thing. Well, I thought of that. Yes, you did. And I appreciate it. The rules have to apply equally to everybody. Now, if it's a secret thing that the bad guys wouldn't know about, that's a whole different critter. But the use of rules applies to everybody. Okay, that's a whole different critter. Rules have to apply equally to everybody. If your story does not fit within the rules, then what the hell are you running the game for? It's all, I mean, the story is make-believe, but if the rules don't matter, then how are you running a game? It's that simple. So that's my 2 cents. If anybody has any arguments or discussion, please put it in the comments. I'd love to read them. But if here's the ultimate bedrock take on this video. As a dungeon master, if your story does not fit within the rules, your story sucks. You got a bad story, you need to fix it before you run it. If you make, everybody makes mistakes. If you make the mistake of doing that and your players bring it up, they're right, you have to fix it. Okay? It's that simple. So just go with that. Makes everything easier. I hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all. Clarissa Lowe, a historian from the future. Delmore Kane, a Civil War veteran turned outlaw. This oddball pairing faces a conspiracy of epic proportions spanning the centuries. If you like action and adventure westerns with a splash of science fiction and fantasy, check out my book series Drifters and their ongoing adventures.